goats and lambs during the dark days of winter to shearing a flock of lambs in a day, excuse me. Work was definitely worth the effort, and she now has the opportunity to share her experiences with others and explain sustainability and advocate for our agricultural heritage in an urban and suburban environment. Lastly, in addition to 4-H, Kate has an extensive background of service in the Gahanna and Central Ohio community, including as a volunteer for the Miracle League, March of Dimes, High Point Elementary, St. Stephen's House, and Grin. She's also been active as a Run the Race volunteer, mentoring inner city at-risk youth. As a Gahanna student, she was an East Bud and has stayed in contact with many of the kids she mentored. And she was active in the DeSales Autism Awareness Club, a cheerleader, and a volleyball and tennis player. How she found the time to do all of that, I don't know, but if my colleagues would like to join me down in front of the dais for a presentation and a photo, and then we'll turn things over to Ms. Ackland. So, thank you.
All right, well, thank you guys. So as they said, I'm Kate Ackland. I'm your 2025 Franklin County Fair Queen. If you haven't been to the Franklin County Fair, we have everything for all ages. I don't just represent our youth programs like 4-H, FFA, Farm Bureau, even though I'm involved in those. There are anything for any age. You guys can enter as county members, or even if you're outside the county, you can still enter. So does anyone have any questions about the fair? Awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Ackland, and thank you, Madam President. That's all for me.
Yes, thank you so much. Congratulations, Kate, and thank you to the Ackland family for joining us here tonight and for all your incredible support for Kate as well. The next item we have on tonight's agenda is a celebration to recognize a management analyst here in the council clerk office, Jessica Hiltz. Jessica joined us about a year ago and has, in her time here, made innumerable contribution to council communications, to council outreach, and our ability to communicate what's going on here with City Council. In addition to all of that, Mrs. Hiltz has received her Master Municipal Clerk certification, which is the highest level of professional recognition and attainment that one can receive in a municipal clerk professional space. So I think I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Van Meter first, or directly over to Ms. Brasher.
Thank you, Council President. I'll just make a couple brief statements. I think that Jessica Hiltz, this not only shows her commitment to continued education, but also to providing excellence in local government and public service. So we are very proud of the work that Jessica does every day in terms of supporting the council through communications and legislative research. And at this time, I would like to invite a colleague of ours, Molly Prasher from the city of Reynoldsburg, to offer her remarks and present the official MMC certificate to Jessica. Welcome up, Molly.
Good evening. Mayor Jadwin, Council President Bowers and council members. I am a past president of the Ohio Municipal Clerks Association. I have been privileged to stand in front of Gahanna's council previously and make a similar presentation. And tonight, as Jeremy said, I am also the clerk of council for the city of Reynoldsburg, your neighbor to the south. It is my honor to be here tonight to recognize Jessica Hiltz for her achievements earning the certification as a Master Municipal Clerk issued by the International Institute of Municipal Clerks. The International Institute of Municipal Clerks is a professional organization founded in 1947. There are more than 15,000 members in the U.S., Canada, and countries outside, including Europe, Australia, and New Zealand, and one member in Africa. IIMC's primary goal is to actively promote the continuing education and professional development of municipal clerks through educational programs, certifications, publications, networking, annual conferences, and research. The Master Municipal Clerks is a designation program designed to enhance the job performance of the clerk in both small and large communities. To earn the MMC designation, a municipal clerk must have earned the certified municipal clerk's level and continue to attend extensive education programs. The designation also requires pertinent experience in a municipality. The program prepares the participant to meet the challenges of the complex role of a municipal clerk by providing quality education in partnership with 47 institutes of higher learning. The program has been in existence since 1970 and has helped thousands of clerks in various municipalities. It is with great pleasure that I stand before you tonight to officially present Jessica Hiltz with her Master Municipal Clerk designation. I was also honored to have presented Jessica with her Certified Municipal Clerk certification. After a long and dedicated journey of several years and many hours of seminars, conferences, and institute sessions, some of which are tedious, however, she maintained and has reached this pinnacle, an achievement that very few clerks are able to accomplish. Out of 15,000 international municipal clerk members, she is one of 2,968 members worldwide to obtain this certification. In Ohio, she is only the 49th clerk to hold a current MMC designation. I know Jessica is dedicated to the city of Gahanna and works very hard to do the best job possible for the city and its residents. She also has been a dedicated and active board member of the Ohio Municipal Clerks Association. I am honored to be here tonight to make this presentation. Congratulations, Jessica.
My council colleagues will join you and Molly for a photo. We'll come down and then you can make your remarks. Thank you. Instead of the ramp.
I was going to say the purse with the outfit looked really nice.
Maybe if you want your husband to stand behind you right here in the middle and then boys. One there and one over here. Perfect. Excellent. Awesome.
Right here, 3, 2, 1. Right, good.
And if council will indulge me, Mr. Van Meter here, being the humble gentleman that he is, has also earned his certified municipal clerk designation and did not want to be officially recognized. However, when you invite me to come make one presentation, I am not going to make another. I will refrain from reading all of the same information, except I would like to say, that out of the 15,000 international clerks, he is one of 3,626 members worldwide and our 103rd clerk in the state of Ohio. Jeremy also is a dedicated member of the Ohio Municipal Clerks Association Board, and I am so proud that both of these members have served with me during my presidency and deign to call me when they have questions. Of course, I don't always have the answer, but I always can make one up. So please give Jeremy a round of applause for earning his certified municipal clerk.
Well, Clerk Prasher, I'm so glad that you took this moment to also recognize Mr. Van Meter. We have an incredible team who works behind the scenes tirelessly to help provide records, organize legislation, send out communications, and do all kinds of other incredible work. And we know the level of professionalism that they demonstrate every day. So thank you for taking the opportunity to be here to recognize Mrs. Hiltz and Mr. Van Meter and for explaining about the professional criteria and designations that they have achieved. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Oh, and Mrs. Hiltz, did you have some words that you wanted to share as well? Sorry, we didn't mean to skip over that part.
You're okay. Not many words. I just wanted to keep it short and sweet and say I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for your support. Being part of the Ohio Municipal Clerks Association and IIMC, you get to see lots of different jurisdictions across not just our state, but this world. And not every clerk is as fortunate as Jeremy and I to have a supportive leadership team. So it really means a lot. Our success is in great part to your support. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I also want to thank my family for their patience with all the late night meetings, and for great mentors like Molly, who are constantly there helping with the crazy questions she fields. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, excellent. Well, and Mr. Van Meter, any further comments?
No, but thank you.
All right, with that, we'll move on to Section D of this evening's agenda, hearing of visitors. I do have several speaker slips. I do have one speaker slip that is for a video comment. So we will present that at the end of this evening, at the end of the speaker slips. I will just, for a procedural note, identify that I do have also two speaker slips. One is video and one is in person regarding the public hearing that is in the next section of the agenda. So I haven't forgotten you. You will just be in section E of this evening's agenda. Okay, with that, we'll take first up Mr. Connor Woltman-Ferlini. Mr. Woltman-Ferlini, you'll have 3 minutes to offer your remarks, and please approach the podium and state your name and address.
My name is Connor Woltman-Ferlini. I am 14 years old, and I live on 625 Waterbury Boulevard. Thank you for giving me the time here to speak today. My name is Connor Woltman-Ferlini. I'm not just here as a resident of Gahanna, but also as someone who is deeply concerned about the welfare of our LGBTQ plus community in Gahanna. A mental health crisis has been going on in LGBTQ plus youth for decades. It has recently gotten so much worse. The statistics are staggering. Since the 2024 presidential election, calls to suicide crisis lifelines from LGBTQ plus youth has spiked by over 700%. 41% of LGBTQ plus youth have seriously considered suicide, and nearly half of LGBTQ plus youth have reported wanting therapy but not receiving it. These aren't just numbers. These are our neighbors, our students, and our children. For too long, we have sat on the sidelines, twiddling our thumbs and doing nothing. We have to acknowledge that this is happening and get off of our rear ends and take a stand. A brutal combination of bullying, stigma, and lack of social and political acceptance are driving the LGBTQ+ community to a brink. Previously safe places like Kaleidoscope Youth Center are losing the vital funding and resources they need to continue doing their work. They recently had 22 beds for homeless LGBTQ+ youth, and that number has dropped to 11. That's less than half. That's half. Kids are beginning to be afraid to walk in the very places that are meant to support them, and that's not a good thing. This is not just about politics, it's about humanity. To defend against this bullying from Capitol Hill, several cities, including Whitehall and Westerville, to get Gahanna's neighbors, have put into place ordinances that aim to protect the rights of the LGBTQ+ community. Whitehall specifically has put into place Resolution 11/2025, which condemns conversion therapy and states that Whitehall is a safe haven for the LGBTQ+ community and gender-affirming care. I urge this council to do the same. Gahanna needs to put place into laws that will protect its LGBTQ+ population's basic human rights. And with discrimination rules in workhouses, workplaces, and housing will preserve the rights of LGBTQ+ citizens to be who they are. Protections aimed at stopping the vital funding from being taken away from our local youth centers and crisis services, as well as laws banning conversion therapy with Gahanna. All of these will be vital in preserving this community. Right now, health professionals who try to help are being silenced, and kids are falling through the cracks. You have the power to draw the line in the sand and say, in Gahanna, we care about all of our children and community members. You can be part of something that saves countless lives, and that tells struggling LGBTQ+ youth and adults, we see you, you matter, and you are safe here. Let's make Gahanna a beacon of hope in these dark times. Let's be a city that fights for the LGBTQ+ community instead of telling them to shrink away. Please rise to this moment. Be fierce, be compassionate. Be the leaders that these young people need. Tonight is a crossroads in Gahanna's future. You can either take the easy path and do nothing, or you can do something and save many lives.
Thank you, Mr. Wiltman-Ferlini. I apologize, but because we have a strict 3-minute application and I have to adhere to it across everyone, you can submit your written remarks via email to Mr. Van Meter and he can distribute them to all of us, or you're welcome to come back to our next regular meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And then I made a slideshow presentation. Do you mind passing it around?
Okay, thank you. We'll take these and pass them. Thanks. All right. This evening we have a second speaker slip. This one is from Samuel Graff. Mr. Graff? Would you please state your name, address, and you'll have 3 minutes for your remarks.
Hi, I'm Sam Graff. I live at 3580 North Stigler Road. I'm here to speak about the tax abatement for the Velocys on the spec warehouse. I follow these meetings. It's great. I go on YouTube, and it's kind of cool being here now. But last meeting, I heard a resident speak against the abatement, and I've been following this the last couple months. I saw the Dispatch article, and then I watched these meetings, and when I heard somebody speak against it, I felt compelled that I needed to come here to speak my support of it as a Gahanna homeowner and resident. I want Gahanna to continue to thrive and remain competitive in the surrounding areas. I moved here from out of state 7 years ago and bought a house in Gahanna, and have watched the surrounding communities continue to thrive. I want to continue to attract businesses like Velocys to develop in our community and help us be attractive to bring those in. So abatements are crucial to accomplishing this in Central Ohio, and I am very happy to have you guys have me here to speak tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker slip is from Paul Smith. If you'd please approach the podium, state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes for your remarks.
My name is Paul Smith. My address is 300 Crescent Court, Dallas, Texas. My remarks, I'm with Velocys. I'm a partner, one of 5 partners with the company. We are the equity, represent the equity for the development. Wanted to just address a few things. First is, I know there's been confusion or concern about litigation that is around one of our projects in Austin. I'll touch on that briefly. And then secondly, about sponsorship for this project. We are the representative for the equity. We also help arrange the debt, which is a local lender here, and I'll address those two items. The first on litigation, it's our project in Bee Cave, Austin. Because there's still an existing lawsuit, there's a lot I can't say, but I'm very happy to tell you all tonight that we are heading for a settlement. And there's some documentation that still has to be done, but a lot of activity happened over the weekend. It's good news. It's good news for the community of Bee Cave. It's good news for our project. There is a existing tenant in the community of Bee Cave that wants to expand. Their jobs are going to go from 100 jobs to 550 jobs. Those will be retained in Bee Cave. We basically presented that tenant to the city as a resolution. The city embraced it. They voted on it last Tuesday, so we're heading for a settlement. We're very excited about it. I think it's a real win-win situation. So that should clear up most of the concerns about litigation for that project. Secondly, on sponsorship, the primary equity for this development is being provided by Sumitomo Corp of America. They're a $40 billion company based in New York City. Their parent is in Japan, over $100 billion of assets. Very deep equity. They're excited to be here, excited to be part of this project. On the debt side, the lender is Huntington Bank, headquartered here. It's a $210 billion bank. You all know the Huntington name. They're excited about providing the debt financing for the project. I think the depth of the equity and debt sponsorship here is unique. We're very excited about it. We're excited about the project, and we appreciate all of your hard work in trying to understand the dynamics behind it. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker slip this evening is from Jonathan Postweiler. If you'd please approach the podium, state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes for your remarks.
Thank you. Jonathan Postweiler, 330 West Chestnut Street, Hinsdale, Illinois. Good evening, Council. As it relates to ordinance number 0030-2025, we know this project brings undeniably strong economic impacts to the city. The city receives $406 of revenue generated from the site today. Tomorrow, when developed, that will be $40,000+ annually in revenue to the city. There's no jobs or payroll today. Tomorrow, those figures will be grossly different. The 12-year 80% abatement is below the most recent approved speculative abatement, and we are not seeking any TIF money associated with this application. We know the economic need for the abatement has been demonstrated. The financial justification for the 80% abatement has been proven, and corporate build-to-suit owner users will not target this site due to the site constraints. We know this is the highest and best use for the site. We've demonstrated the economic case, 15+ years of being actively marketed, decades of underutilization, and no material interest or serious inquiries have come from that. The targeted use for this site has been approved by Planning and Zoning, and a grant investment approved by Jobs Ohio, furthering our case for outsized tenant demand and lack of existing supply. We know our ownership structure here and ongoing unrelated litigation is not disqualifying or unique. Should the city have applied an even-handed review of past applicants, council would find our organizational structure chart to mirror other institutional owners within your community. Active unrelated litigation of past applicants did not disqualify them from receiving more favorable abatement terms. We know the likely tenant profile for this facility is a local or regional company directly benefiting the community. In fact, we are the top choice of an undisclosed reference tenant in the July 21st meeting. Lease execution will hinge upon timely delivery of the building, driven by an approval this evening. We know our approval process has been uniquely detailed and lengthy. Unprecedented 5 months since application, spanning 5 separate public meetings. We know council expressed concerns about our emergency clause, so we removed it. We know the city attorney expressed concerns about our assignment language on July 31st, so we modified it to mirror Skinnell's assignment language, and today wholesale accepted the city attorney's desired changes. And we know this project does not proceed without this abatement. A vote against this ordinance is a vote to suppress job growth, reject guaranteed revenue for your community, disregard planning department's approvals for industrial development at this site, overshadow the state's desired financial contribution, forfeit the long-term economic benefits this project offers, and undermine our ability to lease the facility to the tenant we are in active negotiations with. Worse, it signals a desire to leave this property vacant, bulldozing VRG's past, present, and future efforts to deliver value to this community, not out of principle or policy, but out of an idea that an ounce of possibility is better than the pound of certainty we will be delivering to the community. We respectfully urge this council to support the project and join us in delivering lasting value for Gahanna. Thank you.
The next speaker slip I have this evening is from Linda Fromm. If you'd please approach the podium, state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes for your remarks.
Linda Fromm, 3517 Kirkham Road, Columbus, Ohio. Thank you, honorable members of council, honorable mayor, Gahanna staff for the opportunity to speak. As Barry Fromm's widow, I became chairperson of Value Recovery Group in 2018. Our company is now woman-owned and family-operated. I have been a member of the Gahanna community since 2005, when Barry and our company partnered with the county and Gahanna to clean up the Bedford landfill. From there, it evolved. We developed roads, developed properties, attracted jobs and investment, and thus far have added over $500,000 annually to your real estate tax base. Barry was so proud of this community and would be amazed at the progress since his passing. We even held 3 years of Independence Day fireworks at the Golf Depot, serving tens of thousands at our own expense when the Sitchcomb administration suspended fireworks. Today, VRG owns land in Gahanna, pays property tax, and works hard daily to attract development and jobs to Gahanna. VRG2's partners are individuals, mostly families, no institutional investors or capital partners. Our company has had the same steady leadership as we did in 2005. We are hands-on and active and put full-time hours into these projects. Since 2009, for 16 years, we have worked to get this site developed into the best result possible. We have very few prospects and most lacked seriousness or credibility. We've now secured a serious project to catalyze future economic development. We completed due diligence before getting into contract, and we're further encouraged by Job Ohio approval. We're confident it's the right project for Gahanna. My team has devoted hundreds of hours with KBC Velocys pre and during contract, meeting with the buyer's outside professionals, advisors, partners, and joining many of their internal discussions. My team experience is that KBC's transparency far exceeds the past buyers. We are confident that their presence in Gahanna will deliver results and that they will follow through on their promises. Development is hard work. Not approving this ordinance will be a crushing blow to Gahanna's competitiveness and will send a grim message to your business community and future prospects for growth. It will be much harder for VRG to sell Gahanna. I am proud that our many accomplishments for this community, and I direct my team to continue this impact. Your approval is critical for Gahanna's future. Thank you, and I look forward to the rest of the meeting.
Thank you. We have one more in-person speaker slip from Bo Taggart. Mr. Taggart, if you'd please approach the podium and you'll state your address and you'll have 3 minutes for your remarks.
Bo Taggart, 3491 Layton Road, Upper Arlington. Good evening, council. I'm Bo Taggart. I run the KBC Ohio office along with my partner Joe Kimmerer, who's here today. And just a note, my family's built buildings and owns buildings in Gahanna, so we've had a long history of investment here. And I've spent my entire career representing corporate industrial users. I've guided everyone from local companies to multinational firms and multi-state level processes. Over the years, I've transacted over $900 million worth of industrial real estate. Some of my recent projects include Illuminate's 1.1 million square foot solar manufacturing campus in Pataskla that employs over 1,000 residents, Pharmavite's $250 million pharmaceutical facility in New Albany, as well as Bear Paint's 300,000 square foot architectural coatings facility in Hebron. Every one of these projects was a multi-state competition and required significant local and state incentives that ultimately brought high-quality jobs to Central Ohio. The key point here is that industrial users are not developers and they're not investors. They don't spend time and capital solving zoning, utility, traffic studies, wetlands, or endure lengthy due diligence processes with the risk of being voted down. They rely on professionals like KBC and Velocys to take on that risk, solve site challenges, and deliver a turnkey solution. Every project I just mentioned above was delivered with all entitlements, infrastructure, and a 15-year 100% tax abatement. Today, there are numerous tax abated buildings and shovel-ready land sites across Central Ohio competing for these users that come to town. The reason this Gahanna site has sat vacant for nearly 20 years is that there's been no solution that has been created for today's industrial occupier. Without the availability to provide a solution, including a tax abatement, this site will remain vacant. You've asked us many times whether this project represents the highest and best use for this site. My answer is resounding yes. We are bringing a modern building that aligns with the zoning already in place, solves every barrier that a user would face, and positions Gahanna to capture high-quality jobs and investment. In fact, as John mentioned, we're already on a short list for a national industrial supply company that serves local trades.
Thank you, Mr. Taggart. All right, that concludes our in-person speaker slips. For hearing of visitors, Mr. Van Meter, would you please display the video comment from Mr. Eric Fulham?
My name is Eric Fulham. I live at 748 Mistletoe Street. We have had nothing but problems with the driveway repairs, the street repairs. My apron has been redone 3 times and needs redone again. There are many people with issues. I have started a Facebook post on Take Back Gahanna. There are many people out there that have contacted you guys and not getting a response back. I have another lady on my street with the same issue with her apron that she has called Brian Kennedy, emailed Brian Kennedy, and got no response since this has went down. We as a community need our properties to look better and the same as it did before. You guys are repairing the aprons and only doing half of it. None of it was discussed. None of this was sent to us saying that our aprons would be damaged or replaced. In my opinion, the whole apron should have been replaced, not part of it. My apron has been redone 3 times, and we are in agreement for a 4th time for it to be redone by another company. I don't understand the policy of who decided to do this stuff, but what I hear is this is how Columbus does their work. We are not Columbus. We pay money to live in Gahanna. We pay Gahanna taxes. We deserve Gahanna work. We do not want our streets looking like Columbus. The work that was performed was horrible. There needs to be better standards for our money that we pay as taxpayers in our community. And for somebody to have issues and to contact you guys and not get responses is horrible. It took me forever to get a response from you guys. Until I started emailing the mayor and everybody else, I wasn't getting anything done. Us as a community are emailing into people that we were supposed to contact and we don't get a response back. It doesn't matter how busy they are. We are a community and we need help. All these driveways, streets, sidewalks, they all need redone. We didn't pay for this quality of work. Again, my name is Eric Fulham, 748 Mistletoe Street. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Van Meter. All right, moving on to section E of this evening's agenda. We do have public hearings for 3 different ordinances that are identified on this evening's agenda. Mr. Van Meter, would you please identify and read the 3 ordinances for which this public hearing is called?
Ordinance 0031-2025, an ordinance to levy special assessments for certain real estate within the 2022 sidewalk maintenance program and to approve costs and quantities and to declare an emergency. Ordinance 0032-2025, an ordinance to levy special assessments for certain real estate within the 2024 sidewalk maintenance program to approve costs and quantities and to declare an emergency. Ordinance 0034-2025, an ordinance to authorize and amend the Creekside Outdoor Refreshment Area, CORA, in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 4301.82.
Thank you, Mr. Van Meter. Before I open the public hearing, does the administration have anything further to present on any of these ordinances?
Not at this time.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. All right then, well, pursuant to Council Rules 9.10 and 9.11, we will open this public hearing for the 3 ordinances that have been stated. Each of the speakers are requested to fill out a speaker slip, and just as we heard from the hearing of visitors, when your name is called, please approach the podium and state your name and address. You'll have 3 minutes for your remarks. With that, I will first call so I guess Mr. and Mrs. Parker, will you each want 3 minutes or just one? Okay. All right. Please state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes for your remarks.
My name is Erica Bell Parker. My address is 304 Haymarket Place, Gahanna. I am here to contest the 2022 sidewalk maintenance program, as we were not the owners of the property at the time that this was proposed, and we did not acquire the property until June 2024. So we are against sharing the cost for the sidewalk program. And we honestly don't know what part of the sidewalk was even done on our property or in front of our property. The total is $946.22. But we are against sharing the cost of this work performed. And that's all I have for today.
Thank you, Mrs. Parker. The next speaker slip I have for the public hearing this evening is a video speaker slip. Mr. Van Meter, would you please display that video?
Hi, my name is Erin, and I'm one of the residents that participated in the 2022 sidewalk maintenance program. I just wanted to submit some comments because I'm not able to be at the community meeting tonight. I just wanted to share, again, I've articulated my opinion before, that corner lots, I request extra assistance with repairs. This part of my property was not part of Lincolnshire Road, which was improved to be ADA accessible. This part of my property was improved on Lincolnshire Road. I do support the improvements on Lincolnshire Road because I want Gahanna to be handicap accessible. I live here, I worship here, I'm supportive of that. The other part of my corner is not part of any goal to be handicap accessible for Gahanna. It's just a part of my parcel. So I would love, I've asked at the beginning, I've sent a letter to the mayor's office, I would love for one of 2 things to happen. I would love for you to split the parcel and only charge me for half of my lot to be improved, because that's what accomplishes the goal of making Gahanna more accessible to all. Or increase the percentage of aid for corner lots, because we are shouldering a lot of the burden. I really do appreciate the 50%, the assistance that the city has given that really makes it more manageable, the sidewalk repairs. But corner lots, my neighbor right next door, according to the document that Mr. Jeremy sent me, only paid like $200. Mine is over $1,700. Of the 258 parcels that are involved in the 2022 sidewalk maintenance program, I'm the third highest cost of improvement. If you cut that price in half, if you didn't improve the half of my property that didn't need improved, it would be down to like, I don't know, $850, which is much more reasonable. Additionally, only 15 parcels were over $1,000 at all out of the 258. Now, there were about 10% of people that did the repairs themselves, so I can't attest to the cost of those. So, I'm not being mean, I'm not being snarky, I'm not posting on social. I would love a little boost for my cost, which is the third highest in this sidewalk initiative, just because I have a corner lot. Thank you for all you do to keep our city safe and accessible, and I know you're sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place with this initiative, but I'm just speaking up once again for corner lot owners who have no choice. If you could bring my price down, that would be great. I'm not objecting the actual calculations, but I'm speaking up again here. Thank you again. Thanks for listening.
All right. I do not have any other speaker slips. Are there any other people here to attend the public hearing that wish to be heard? All right, if you would please approach the podium and fill out a speaker slip. Mr. Van Meter has some over to the side. Okay. You can finish completing those after your remarks so we can keep the meeting moving. So would you like to be heard on one of these three ordinances for the public hearing? All right. If you would please approach the podium, state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes for your comments.
Thank you. Good evening. New to this, I apologize. So just moved here about a month and 2 weeks ago with my wife. We love Gahanna, that's why we moved here. But it is about the sidewalk program. When we moved in, we had a lot of things to do with the house, including plumbing. One thing that happened was the stormwater drain is underground, and right where the sidewalk is, it is crushed. So that is going to potentially be an expensive fix. I would personally like a little more lenience or some cutting of the price we would have to pay for the sidewalk program. But yes, that's really all that is. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Could you please state your name and address?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. My name is Christian Solomon. Address is 811 Ashford Glen Drive.
Okay, thank you. Please complete the speaker slip and turn that in to Mr. Van Meter. All right. Ma'am, if you'd please approach the podium, state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes for your remarks.
Hi, my name is Dr. Judith Bach. I live at 644 Moss Oak Avenue. And I didn't even know how is this going. I just came, I thought it was a normal public. I didn't know how official this was. So I just came because the completion and the original plan has discrepancy. There was two big blocks that was supposed to be changed and they never happened. And when I called last year, when they said it's over, they told me that don't worry, they were not done because it's the winter and it will continue. And then the next thing I got was this notification. So I am wondering what's happening with that, because that is a bigger thing. And if I would have to do it by myself, obviously without the 50%, then it would be a much more painful, and originally it was included. So that's all. So I don't know where to go with this.
Okay. Thank you for offering your remarks. All right. Is there anyone else here for the public hearing this evening? All right. We will go ahead and close the public hearing for the 3 ordinances identified here. We do appreciate those who came out to speak this evening, and your names and addresses have been recorded. Thank you for completing the speaker slips. You may receive outreach from the administration, and this ordinance is not being voted on this evening. It will be voted on at a subsequent council meeting. All right, with that, we'll move on to the consent agenda, section F this evening. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as published?
So moved, Madam President.
I have a first by Mr. Schnetzer.
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Renner. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Schnetzer?
Yes.
Renner?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Padova?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes. Motion carries and the consent agenda is adopted as published. Next section, section G this evening, we have 2 resolutions, which we've already heard about this evening. These are on the regular agenda because they bypassed committee. So first we have Resolution 0032-2025, a resolution recognizing and honoring Kate Acklin, 2025 Franklin County Fair Queen. Is there a first?
So moved, Madam President.
I have a first from Mr. Weaver,
Second.
a second from Mr. Schnetzer. Is there any discussion on this resolution this evening? Okay. I'll just comment that just thank you so much to Ms. Acklin and her family again for coming in this evening. And I know I wanted to take a moment to recognize other Gahanna residents who participate in the Franklin County Fair and the Ohio State Fair. There are a number of urban farmers, urban beekeepers, and crafts folk that live here in Gahanna and submit projects through 4-H or through other types of entryways to the fair. So it is a great way to keep these types of important cultural activities alive, and so we really appreciate their contributions and the recognition brought forward by Mr. Weaver this evening. With that, Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Weaver?
Yes.
Schnetzer?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Padova?
Yes.
Renner?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution 32-2025 is adopted. Resolution -33-2025, a resolution commending Jessica Hiltz, Management Analyst, on the achievement of Master Municipal Clerk, MMC, as awarded by the International Institute of Municipal Clerks. Is there a first?
So moved.
I have a first by Mr. Weaver,
Second.
second by Mr. Schnetzer. Any discussion on this item? All right. Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Weaver?
Yes.
Schnetzer?
Yes.
Padova?
Yes.
Renner?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Motion carries and resolution 0033-2025 is adopted. Next section, ordinances for introduction and first reading. Mr. Van Meter, would you please introduce and read the ordinances identified under section H?
I believe we already did the first reading on these under the
Because
public
of the-
hearing.
Because of the public hearing that satisfies the first reading?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, then we won't do it again. So thank you, Mr. Van Meter. Well, with that, we'll just note for the record that these ordinances have been submitted for first reading consistent with the public hearing. Section I, ordinances for second reading and adoption. Mr. Van Meter, would you please read into the record ordinance 0030-2025 for second reading?
Ordinance 0030-2025, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a community reinvestment area agreement with Velocis Gahanna JV LP to facilitate the construction of an industrial building on parcel 027-0001110-00 and 025-13634-00 on Tech Center Drive, part of Community Reinvestment Area Number 3, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Mr. Van Meter. Is there a first to adopt ordinance 0030-2025?
So moved.
I have a first by Mr. Schnetzer.
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Renner. There are some amendments with council's first and second. I would suggest a motion to amend ordinance 0030-2025 in three distinct ways. One would be to amend the parcel number identified in the title and in the body of the ordinance, to amend the second parcel number to read 025-013-634-00. The second amendment being to remove the emergency designation, and the third amendment being to recognize the new attachment that I will give you it would be to the CRA agreement draft clean, KBC Velocis .08.04.2025 and replace that as substitute Exhibit A. Is there a motion to amend the ordinance as identified with those three amendments?
So moved.
I have a first by Mr. Weaver.
Second.
And a second by Mr. Schnetzer. Is there any discussion on the three amendments? Yes.
Perhaps.
Yes.
So there's a lot of attachments to this particular file. My hope is that our esteemed city attorney might, in layman's terms, provide a summary of the CRA agreement draft clean KBC-Velocis 08.04-2025, just some of the key changes that are in that document and perhaps maybe the necessary rationale behind that.
Certainly. So in addition to just cleaning up some of the language as far as like a typo here and there, the bulk changes were primarily to the section defining the job creation and payroll to reference the chart, because I believe that some of the language there was a little ambiguous as to whether or not the minimum threshold payment attached from year one or whether it was only in year 7. And so I just amended that language to reference the chart. The second major change was in the assignability area. As was originally drafted, this provided an assignment as a right without city approval. And so I believed it to be in the city's best interest to include a oversight of the assignability of the CRA for subsequent transfers or purchasers. The only exception to that would be if the company itself changed ownership to a different company name, or that the bank required an assignment as part of financing. So with those two exceptions, the city would have the right to approve any subsequent transfers. And there was a form circulated that would achieve that goal of a subsequent transfer. And so I did submit a draft that is similar to the one that was used in the Scannell deal, CRA assignment. And so that is a 2-page document that basically outlines the obligations of the assignment and warranties that everything has been fulfilled to this point, and that the new company is taking on all responsibilities as well as all benefits of the original agreement. So while in light of the amount of due diligence done in this deal, I felt it necessary to protect any subsequent transfers, as that is, in my opinion, expected in this case. So those are the bulk of my recommendations there, as far as making sure that the contract itself was legally sound.
Thank you so much.
Any further discussion on the amendments? All right, hearing none. Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll regarding the motion to amend?
Weaver,
Yes.
Schnetzer,
Yes.
Renner,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McGregor,
Yes.
Padova.
Yes.
Motion carries, and the ordinance is amended as stated. We'll now move on to discussion on the ordinance as amended. And I'll open the floor to my colleagues for discussion. Mr. Schnetzer.
Thank you, Madam President. Regardless of how this vote goes down, I hope that the residents of Gahanna find some assurance or comfort in the degree of due diligence that's been performed here. And I think it's a really good example of how we're quite fortunate to have three independently elected and equal branches of government. Of course, I'm referring to council, the administration, and then an independently elected city attorney's office, all three of which had a major part in getting to literally this point that we're in right now. The administration, I think, has done yeoman's work with regard to due diligence, bringing forward the economic case, comparing it to existing agreements or deals that the city has engaged in. Council has received that information, has asked, I think, pertinent questions, also has turned up some concerns, of a legal nature that pulled in the city attorney's office, who I've lost track of the amount of hours that I'm sure you've put in to this project. You've come back with several revisions. I believe you were working over the weekend to get us to this point. So again, regardless of how this ultimately goes down, I'm confident that it'll be the right decision because I think we've had essentially an all-hands-on-deck approach to this one. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Mr. Schnetzer. Further comments? Mrs. Padova.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Schnetzer, for your comments. I also wanted to thank everyone who's worked on this and everyone who came out this evening and all of the work that you guys have put into getting to this point. I appreciate the intention behind it and the desire to see continued development in Gahanna. I voted no on a similar abatement 3 years ago, and I will be voting no again tonight for the same reason. I cannot support tax abatements for billion-dollar companies while the people who live here, our residents, are struggling to afford to stay in their homes because of rising property taxes. That is probably the number one issue that I hear from residents is the price of property taxes. It is not something to do with any of the companies involved in this. It's simply the system that exists that I do not want to support. I know that abatements are common practice. I know that this is how economic development is often done, but I do believe that it's time that we ask if this is actually good policy or if it's something that we are doing simply because it is the norm. Velocys is a billion-dollar investment firm that will profit from this project by renting the space to a company or companies, employing roughly 37 people, making $55,000 a year, at least possibly more, definitely has more potential. If this goes through, I fully hope that this is a very successful project. I want nothing but success for Gahanna and specifically that part of Gahanna, which is my ward. But in effect, we're offering a tax break to a corporation with vast resources while collecting full taxes from the everyday workers who will actually be here in Gahanna. And that disconnect matters to me. I believe in growth, I believe in smart development, but more than anything, I believe in showing up for the people who call Gahanna home. And tonight, my vote reflects that commitment. So thank you again to everybody who's been involved in this and all of the hard work getting us this far.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Padova. Mrs. McGregor.
Thank you. I would just say, and I've said this before, I am not in favor of tax abatement. However, it is a tool that we all have to use. It's common. It's used in all the other communities. If Gahanna does not use this tool we are not going to have much economic development. We are competing with other communities that use it, and for us to say we're not going to use it is a quiet voice that is not going to be heard in the general area. They're just going to go to another community. And I'll say, I don't think it's fair to all the other entities that get cut out of their taxes, the library, the senior options, all those people that don't get the tax because we're abating the tax. But it's an economic tool that's been approved by the state, and it's used all over Ohio. And for us not to use it seems very short-sighted. And that's all I had to say.
Thank you, Mrs. McGregor. Mr. Weaver.
Thank you, Madam President. At the risk of being redundant, I'll try to curb some of my, or edit my remarks a little bit. Just want to add my thanks to the applicant, to the administration, especially Director Gottke for his efforts, and of course the helpful memo that he circulated prior to the council meeting on the 21st. As a follow-up to Mrs. McGregor's comments, communities do have various tools at their disposal to attract and retain businesses that they believe are for the betterment of their residents. Tax incentives are a part of that tool chest, and abatements are a common form of tax incentive. Ultimately, the goal of an effectively used tax abatement is to attract a business that but for, and we've heard that phrase quite a bit over the last several weeks, that but for that abatement would not locate into Gahanna, and this is done on the belief and the development of the record that that end use, that business will ultimately lead to a net benefit for the city. Here, I've been weighing several pros and cons of this application, which we've discussed at length, including the fact that this property has sat vacant and underutilized for some time. A spec warehouse does not seem an inappropriate use for the property, and I appreciate that the income tax is guaranteed, quote unquote, to the city. I am concerned about the percentage and term that's offered and accepted by adjacent businesses that's more favorable to the city. The memo that was circulated references that these terms are in line with previously approved applications, but I would argue that the more historical agreements are not as fitting of a comparison. And I would just add that much has changed over the past several years in Gahanna, but particularly in this part of the city. I do have significant concerns about the accountability of the various subsidiary entities that are involved, as well as the lack of clarity on who will ultimately be responsible for upholding the agreement. I do take issue with some of the comments that have been made, particularly on timing. Council has moved this project through the committee process with great speed. In fact, the item kept moving forward and was scheduled for first reading, even though the item was coming back to committee. It is the purview of council to provide oversight and ask questions. This application first came before council on June 9th. Where it was in the months leading up to that, I heard the comment about 5 months. It was on an administrative side, but council's had this since June 9th. And I'm proud of my colleagues for the questions they've asked and the effort that has been made. At the end of the day, all that said, we are all accountable to our constituents. And I can say that this application marks the first time in my time on this dais that I've been pulled aside out in public and heard as much from residents on an abatement application. So while I appreciate the ongoing efforts to develop the site and the guaranteed income tax contribution, I will also be a no on this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. Yes, Mr. Renner.
Thank you. To be honest, this project didn't immediately excite me. But as a council member, it is my duty and responsibility to evaluate proposals based on their substance, not just initial impressions. Given the testimony that we've heard and the data that we provided, I've taken time to walk through this proposal carefully. What follows are some of my thoughts on this resolution. This particular parcel has been undeveloped and unproductive for 30 years, and it lies within a designated community reinvestment area zoned, created with a clear purpose to incentivize private investment, attract job-creating businesses, and ultimately strengthen our tax base. This is precisely what the proposal is aimed to do. Yes, the 12-year, 80% tax abatement is quite significant. And I think my colleagues have actually pointed out some of the values on that side of the argument. It's valued approximately $3.72 million over its term, but the developer will still be paying the remaining 20% property taxes during that time. I also believe that our economic development director, Jeff Gottke, in his memo laid out clearly, including the projected 69% return on investment, or a value estimated or expected to be $2.57 million to the city and our community. I also think it's important to remember how far we've come. I remember a time being on council that not long ago, when we were eager, we were desperate for development interest in our city. We had the land, we had the location, but we didn't have the momentum. Maybe today we do. We talk about revitalizing Creekside, and it remains one of the most important cultural and civic areas in our city. But we also need to foster a different kind of vitality, one rooted in economic productivity and diversification, especially in our businesses and industrial corridors. And I really think that that argument, that side of the equation, tends to be overlooked. This project seems to offer exactly some of that. Activate dormant land, attract private sector investment, and build long-term tax revenue. So I'm also a sustainability specialist. And from a sustainability perspective, I would be remiss not to raise some of the concerns. On the positive side, this is infill development, not sprawl. This is an area designated for development. It reuses land that already has access to existing infrastructure and services, which is a win. Smart land use policy. However, based on public testimony, it seems the project will likely not include strong environmental design standards, such as energy efficiency or infrastructure that supports clean transportation. There does seem to be an interest on stormwater controls, but I remain apprehensive about adding to the regional burden of traffic congestion and emissions. That said, we are living through a transformative shift in the transportation and logistics sector. And I'm optimistic that advancements in vehicle electrification and cleaner freight will mitigate some of my concerns in the long run. While 37 jobs may not seem, or may seem just modest, and it is for the density of the area, we must view this part of a larger strategy, a deliberate effort to restore economic energy to part of Gahanna that's long needed. It's also a clear message to the region that we are ready to welcome responsible job-creating development. Maybe over time, some believe that the CRA tools have lost their relevance, and I actually am one of those. But I would argue that the proposal reflects the exact kind of reinvestment that we have advertised. If we want to change it, then let's change it. Let's change all our CRAs. But we did advertise to the world, and somebody took a bite. This project may not be perfect, but it represents progress. And in the balance and risk and return, I believe it makes sense for Gahanna. I will be voting in favor of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Renner. Mrs. Jones.
Yeah. So I also want to reiterate thank you to everyone who has put in a lot of time, effort, and energy into this process. I will echo that we know that this has been an area that has been hard to develop. and we are looking for what is the best deal and the best opportunity for our community. I will say that I am a council member who does not feel that this is the best interest of our community, as I have a number of concerns that, despite all of the conversation, still remain unresolved for me. And I believe that is my role, is to ensure all of the questions that I have from the community and as a resident are answered. And there have been a number of those that have just left me uneasy. A lot of them have been talked about today. I thank Councilwoman Padova for speaking to tax abatements. I understand that that is a standard and that is typical. But when we look at the financial strain on so many of our residents, it just feels like a really tone-deaf thing to do. We've had a number of conversations here, about this being a speculative building, and we didn't know who the tenant was going to be. And then very quickly I won't say very quickly, but then we did get an update the last meeting that we do now know what the tenant is going to be. That tenant is confidential. I understand, again, that those are business agreements, but there is a lack of openness here that makes it difficult, I think, for us to really truly evaluate the benefit or the risk of this particular project. Another concern for me has been the structure. I know it's been shared with us. City Attorney Tamilarison has done her work. I understand that that also is common in economic development, but there are lots of layers of complexity in that. And I believe it makes our residents and myself personally ask questions about why the complexity, what are we obscuring, why? So these are just a few examples of the questions in my mind. We've talked a lot about, this building potentially being sold in a couple of years. For me, that implies a transactional relationship. And as a city council member, as a resident of this community, what we want in our businesses, or what I want, I won't speak on behalf of everyone, but what I and the residents that have spoken to me want is they want partners, not just investors in our community. We want businesses that see Gahanna as somewhere to plant their roots, have longevity, build relationships, and truly help our communities to thrive, and not just turn a profit. And unfortunately, in all of the conversations that we've had about this particular agreement, it's just felt really transactional and just like a deal. And that's not a position that I wanted to put our community in. And so it is for these reasons that I will also be a no vote this evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Jones.
Can I make one further comment?
Yes, Mrs. McGregor.
I understand that this, the tax abatement is for a business. And I will grant you that property taxes on individuals is high, and it's hard for many people to pay. It's a big burden. But turning this down is not going to help those taxes. It's not going to help it's not going to help anybody with their property tax. In fact, it's kind of working against it. The schools are going to be getting a fair chunk of change from this development. Now, they're not if it gets turned down. So who does that put the burden back on? All the other residents. So I guess you can look at it that, yes, our personal property taxes are high, and I would agree with that, but I don't see how turning down this is going to help that situation at all. There's other issues involved in all the personal property taxes. I mean, all the levies that are passed, for the schools. And, if we don't encourage development that feeds into the school taxes, then that's putting a bigger burden on the people, the private people. I guess that's all I got to say.
Madam President, when you see fit, I would also like to make a comment. I don't know if you're going to make a comment as well, but I would like to say something as well.
Sure, go ahead, Mayor.
Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody's comments tonight, and it's been 6 weeks or so, almost 8 weeks now, since we first had this presented to council. I do believe in my heart that every person sitting up here, starting from Ms. Jones all the way down to myself, has the community's best interests at heart. We all want a community where everyone, our residents and our businesses, can thrive. We all want a community that offers a strong quality of life for each and every one of our citizens. And as we are funded largely by income tax, I'm preaching to the choir here, we're funded by income tax that's generated from the businesses and jobs that are located here. In order to provide that strong quality of life, we need the strong economic and business base to generate that income that helps us to provide the services and amenities that our residents expect. 2 weeks ago, we had the swearing in of a new police officer and the promotion of a new dispatcher. We're talking about a new street sweeping program. We've had extended conversations, or at least heard from residents tonight, about the street and sidewalk program and our ability to add that 50% cost-sharing mechanism to help our residents with that. All of that's generated from the income tax that we're able to bring to our coffers from businesses that locate here. In order to have that strong, consistent economic base, we need diverse business base that's comprised of a variety of industrial sectors, so that when there are market fluctuations and trends in industries, we can weather that storm and we don't see the dips. I appreciate council's jobs and council members talking about their role. It's my role as the head of the administration. It's the administration's job to identify and pursue opportunities that can best position this city for economic success in the long term, to ensure that we consistently have a vibrant and thriving community for all. We've had tremendous success over the last 5 years, bringing high quality, high paying jobs in the medical sector and the industrial sector to our community. And we've been able to do that through the effective and strategic use of incentives. Ortho One is probably the biggest project that we've talked about. We called it the largest private development project in the history of the city. I remember Director Hammonds, when he was here, calling it a once-in-a-lifetime economic development project. I think we can all agree this is not an Ortho One project. It's not going to have that same cachet to it, but it is a good project because it fills a critical need. There's a great demand in the entire Columbus region for this exact type of space, this flex industrial small user. Since we first started talking about this project on June 9, since this was first presented, no less than 9 spec warehouse projects have been announced in the Columbus region, 9 of them. More importantly, specific to Gahanna, this project fills a need and a gap that we currently have. We currently have 2 existing Gahanna businesses that are growing, and we don't have the space to provide them room to grow. They need bigger space. We don't have it, and we are in risk of losing them to another community. I know 2 of them are looking in other communities right now for the space that they can provide and we can't. That type of space could be provided by this exact type of project. Spec warehouses, while it sounds speculative by the name, is not how it works. It's Economic Development 101. We have a history of businesses that have started as a spec warehouse and have grown to become those partners in the community who have invested and grown within the community. ADB Safegate is one, Benchmark Industrial is one, the Romanoff Group is one, Grimco is one. The list goes on and on. But we have to provide those opportunities and those spaces for our existing businesses to grow, and we also need to be able to attract new businesses. This project also not only generates that space that we need, but it creates diverse job opportunities. We've talked about the high-paying, high-quality medical jobs, but we have to have jobs that meet a variety of skill sets within here. We are a diverse community. We have to have job opportunities that meet the diverse opportunities and diverse people that we have here. Yes, incentives are widely used by every municipality, not just in the Columbus region, not just in Ohio, but in our country. And until that process changes, and hopefully our folks at the State House can figure that out, we must be able to be competitive, to attract new businesses, and to assist our existing businesses with expansion. As Councilwoman McGregor said, they're just going to go to another community. It's not going to solve the problem. To be clear, since taking office, my administration has been strategic in offering incentives, evaluating the long-term impact and values of projects before we bring them here. We evaluate the cost and the benefits, what the project adds, what the need of that project does to, what need does that project fill within our community. What you don't see often are the projects that we say no to. There are projects that come through the Economic Development Department and through my office where folks ask for incentives and we just say, sorry, the ROI doesn't work for us, and they never even make it here. The community doesn't see those projects. You don't see those projects. But by the time they get to you, they've been vetted. Director Gottke 2 weeks ago shared a detailed presentation about the benefits of this project, outlining the significant economic impacts. In the short term, as Councilwoman McGregor just said, the schools will see an immediate increase in revenue. Right now, there's $406 paid annually in property taxes, that land value will immediately go up to $44,000 a year, 107% increase in property taxes. It will continue to be paid. What is abated is 80% of the vertical that gets added to that property. So the school district will immediately see an increase in revenue without any operational impact at all. No new students, and instead opportunities for jobs and internships. In the long term, it will generate significantly more revenue for the schools, and it will increase income tax revenue for both the city and the schools. Director Gottke is our economic development expert in the room. Prior to him coming on board, Nate Green of the Montrose Group had been working on this project with our economic development team. He has nearly 30 years of economic development experience in Ohio, including serving as a director in the Ohio Department of Development. He was co-director for project management. Jobs Ohio has vetted this project and is supporting it because they understand the need for this type of space, not only in the region, but specifically in Gahanna. All three, Jobs Ohio, Director Gottke, Nate Green, are economic development experts. They have fully evaluated this project. They believe it's a good investment for the city. For me, with all due respect to the folks from KBC and Velasas, my concerns aren't necessarily about you, but it's about the message to the economic development community. What do we want to do here? Do we want to be competitive? What message are we sending to our existing business community? Do we want to provide them the room to grow? I believe, because my economic development experts tell me so. To be a good leader, your goal is to not be the smartest person in the room. You look to the experts in their field to guide you. I trust the directors and the economic development experts who have been guiding me. I trust the evaluation that we've been doing. I trust the research that we have done, and I believe that this is a good project that fits the need within this community. So I hope, counting yeses and nos here, Marissa, I believe you're the last one standing. So hopefully we'll hear from you, but I would strongly encourage those to support this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Madam Mayor, and I do appreciate your comments, and I appreciate the position that you're in, and I also appreciate the need to create jobs and jobs that create diverse workforces. I want to thank everybody who came in from Texas and Illinois this evening. You've been here before, and so we thank you for coming back, and thank you specifically to Mr. Postweiler for being willing to share some additional information. Thank you to the Froms. VRG contributions to this community do not go unnoticed, and we do appreciate what you have provided to Gahanna and the benefit that you have inured from Gahanna as well. I want to clarify a couple of things. The vote tonight is not on zoning. It's not on voting whether VRG can or should sell to the applicant. The vote tonight is with regard to the 80% abatement for 12 years, which would equate to approximately $3.7 million in taxes, roughly $310,000 annually. What we do know about the project is that it's projected to generate approximately 37 jobs with an average salary of about $55,000 a year. The site is expected to have room to house 30 semi-tractor trailers. And this location is at the top of Tech Center Drive, adjacent to the trail that runs between the neighborhood communities off of Taylor Road into Edison and some of the other businesses that have developed along Tech Center and Science. We don't yet know whether who the tenant would be or who would locate in this speculative warehouse, and we do appreciate all the information that's been shared regarding the value of speculative development, the purposes behind speculative development, and why it's important. I can see why Jobs Ohio incentivized this because of the demand for speculative projects like this across the region. And in general, this project could go ahead as it sits right now if it were to pay the property taxes that would be assessed as stated. But what's being requested of us this evening is to subsidize the taxes that would be applied to this project, and that decision of whether or not to grant this incentive is wholly discretionary. There is no entitlement not to local small business and not to a large out-of-state investment group. But what we have seen is a track record with this council and the city being intentional, thoughtful, and respectful to applicants who come before us in terms of making sure that we're incentivizing deals that make good sense for our community. We recently approved incentives for Columbus Aesthetic and Plastic Surgery, Burns and Scalo, which is an industrial user, and Ortho One, among with many others. And for each of those, this council asked many of the same questions that were asked of the KBC Velocis team over the last several weeks. We asked about hiring practices, about their interest in Gahanna, their likelihood to stay. And in this situation, we were not able to get a lot of those answers to those questions because we don't know who the end user is. I appreciate some of the transparency that was shared. Mr. Postweiler specifically shared that after the abatement expires, the tenant is likely to leave to locate a cheaper, newer facility that also extends an abatement. To me, this speaks to the transactional nature that Mrs. Jones spoke to. And in this room, we've also heard comments about how these abatements around the region are a race to the bottom. The short-term benefit of this abatement inures to KBC, Velocis, and VRG. And my concern is that after the expiration of the abatement, we're set with another vacant property, only this time it's developed. I'll briefly reference just that there's been reference to a lawsuit that's been pending with the city of Bee Cave, Texas. As a recovering divorce attorney, I know that a settlement deal isn't done until the ink is signed on that piece of paper, so we'll look forward to seeing what comes of that litigation. I do want to mention, too, that what was referenced was a third amended complaint, which was amended after discovery was underway. And there were some comments made at the July 21st meeting that suggested that it was just wholly baseless in its allegations. What I also noticed is the general tenor between the parties involved in that litigation. And unfortunately, we've seen some of that same tenor here in council chambers over the last several weeks. I tend to agree with Mrs. Padova, Mr. Weaver, Mrs. Jones, in that I think that while this project may derive some benefit to the community in terms of bringing 37 jobs, I don't see the value in a $3.7 million abatement. And so for that reason, I cannot support the request this evening. With that, Mr. Van Meter, if you'll please call the roll.
Schnetzer?
Yes.
Renner?
Yes.
Weaver?
No.
Bowers?
No.
Jones?
No.
McGregor?
Yes.
Padova?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Van Meter. The ordinance does not pass and the motion fails. We will move on to the next section of this evening's agenda. Correspondence and actions, Section J. Mr. Van Meter, do you have anything for us this evening?
Nothing this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Van Meter. We would note under council correspondence and actions that the latest bi-monthly newsletter has been published. You can view a copy of it linked in the agenda this evening. Next section, Section K, representatives, Mr. Renner and Mrs. Padova, Community Improvement Corporation.
No updates from us. The next meeting will be on August 19th at 8 a.m.
Thank you, Mrs. Padova. Mr. Renner, anything further?
No.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Weaver, Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission.
Thank you, Madam President. No formal report this evening. The commission will be meeting next week, and I will have more to report for our next regular council meeting. I will note that Clerk Van Meter has shared around some invites for the Summit on Sustainability. Always a great event, so make sure you reserve your spot if you have not already. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. Mrs. Padova, Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Thank you to everyone who came out on Saturday for the Spirit Station, cheering on all of the Pelotonia riders. It was a great turnout, good partnership with Make Gahanna Yours. it was really cool to just see all the riders coming through and waving and getting excited whenever they saw us and ringing our bells, and there were bubbles, all kinds of fun things. So thank you to everybody involved in that. Save the date for holiday lights already. We aren't even back to school, but I'm already telling you about holiday lights on November 23rd. And the last thing, Visit Gahanna is partnering up with Experience Columbus to offer a special Gahanna area-focused Experience Columbus Insider accreditation course on Tuesday, August 19th from 1 to 5 p.m. This will take place at the library. So doing this, you get the ECI accreditation, and you can learn a lot of things about Gahanna and help promote Gahanna around Columbus. So if you would like to get involved in that, you can reach out to Visit Gahanna or Experience Columbus. Again, that's August 19th from 1 to 5 at the library. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Padova. School Board, Mrs. Jones.
Thank you. So, holiday lights, but school will start before that. So just in 10 days, GJPS comes back into our buildings, well, students officially. But with it being the start of the new year, I thought it was a good moment to just talk about all of the different communication channels at the district, because what happens in our schools is important to all of us as residents, regardless of whether or not we have students within the district. So there is our district website, the social media, email or phone for any of the building staffs, talking points for those who have students within the district, a newsletter which comes out monthly via email. Anyone can subscribe to that. As a parent in the district, you automatically get it. Reach out to a parent if you are not, and we can give you information on how to sign up for that. There are also 2 mailers that go out every year to everyone within the district that is registered to vote. Those 2 mailers often have financial information for the district, so of great interest to any of the residents. And most importantly, just like we had tons of participants here at public meetings, our school board offer those as well. Their regular board meetings, and then also workshops, informal opportunities like coffee and conversation. So again, it's a lot. All of that is on the website, but just thought it was important that we've had a little break this summer, but when school gets back into session, there will be a lot of moving parts and pieces, but we can all stay informed through a number of those different channels. So that is all I have this evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Jones. Official reports, we'll turn it over to Madam Mayor.
Just a couple of comments. First of all, I'd like to extend my congratulations to Cindy Maciosi and Jeff Shellhammer. It's been a long night. Shellhammer, there we go. For their revision in bringing the Gahanna Lincoln High School alumni musical performance of 42nd Street to life. I realized that was about 10 days ago at this point. Seems like another lifetime. But if you were lucky enough to catch that performance, it was phenomenal. From the performers, the musicians, the costumes, the set design, it really rivals all of the Broadway touring shows that come through Columbus. It was exceptional. And you sit in the audience and you watch it, and you never cease to be amazed by the level of talent that is within Gahanna and has come from Gahanna. So hopefully they can make that an annual thing. Don't know the viability of that, but we can talk them into it. But congratulations to them, and thanks to them for bringing such a wonderful gift to our community. Saturday was a special day in our city. I know Councilwoman Padova referenced the Spirit Station from Pelotonia. This weekend we celebrated the 50th anniversary of the Gahanna Municipal Golf Course as well, with a 3-day event, the Capital City Corvette Car Show. Gym Skills, a long-standing Gahanna business that's running out of room, is celebrated their 20th anniversary. Edison Fest celebrated their 5th anniversary. And of course, the Columbus Jazz Orchestra at Headley Park, presented by the Gahanna Area Arts Council. I said that night, and I'll say it again, it really that day highlighted one of the things we love most about our city, and it's the way we can come together, the many opportunities that we have to celebrate, support, uplift, and connect with one another. So my heartfelt thanks to all of the different organizations, volunteers, businesses, sponsors, and of course our staff members who contributed to making those events happen. Speaking of events, tomorrow night from 5 to 8 p.m. will be National Night Out at Headley Park. That is a tremendous opportunity for our community to engage directly with our police officers. I know they're very excited about the event. Our community liaison officers, Blair Thomas and Ann Joden, have been working to make this the biggest and best one yet ever. And to do that, they felt the need to include a dunk tank. So Councilman Weaver, I believe, will be in the lineup. Chief Spence is in the lineup. I'm in the lineup. So get your pitching arms warmed up and come on out because the weather should be perfect. Hopefully the water will be warm. And then finally, again, just to reference school beginning next Thursday and Friday, the 14th and the 15th. So please, when you are driving through neighborhoods and you're driving through intersections, the children will be out walking. Pedestrian traffic will increase significantly. Pay attention. Slow down. Please slow down. Speeding is an issue not just in Gahanna, but it's everywhere. And it's not even just Ohio. It's everywhere if you've driven an interstate lately. But especially take care and caution when you are driving around a school zone area. So I know we'll have more communications about that coming out in partnership with Dr. Deagle and her team. But in the meantime, wanted to make sure that we emphasize that. So that is all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Jadwin. City Attorney Tamara Larison.
Yes, thank you. As council is aware, we had been participating in a litigation with the City of Columbus regarding tobacco regulation and preemption and basically kind of picking away at home rule. And so the Court of Appeals decision did come down on that case in favor of the municipalities. And so we are awaiting and expecting an appeal to the Supreme Court there, but the appeals court level has been affirmed. That's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, City Attorney. All right, on to Section M, council comment. Mrs. McGregor.
Thank you. I'll just say the water's never warm. Not to burst your bubble.
It'll be clean. I'm going
You can
first.
hope, but it will not be. It will not be warm. I want to congratulate Kate Acklin again. I was happy to see her again. She was good friends with my granddaughter Isa in middle school. They were on East Buds together. They worked with the developmentally disability students, and they had a great time and really loved working with those students when they were in middle school. She reminded me that in 2020, she spent a good deal of time at our house. She was part of our bubble. And we played lots of games and had a good time. And so it was really good to see her. And I appreciate the award, the proclamation or resolution honoring her. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. McGregor. Mrs. Jones.
Thank you. So I enjoyed, like many folks, some time away this month, or I guess it was last month, and spent every weekend away from Gahanna until this past weekend. And it was just all of the lovely events happening in the city was just a really great reminder of how wonderful this community is, all of the events that have already been mentioned. So I just wanted to do a thank you to the different organizations and volunteers and the folks who show up to just really make this a great community. Also wanted to say thank you for the number of folks with public comment and participating in the hearings tonight. We want to hear from residents, and oftentimes we, ask for people to come and show up, and sometimes we don't get that, and sometimes we have a full house. So even though sometimes it may be things that are hard to hear on both sides, from us to you and you to us, we really do appreciate folks engaging and that people are being proactive in the conversation. I, of course, always love to see youth in chambers. So again, congratulations to Kate Acklin for her accomplishments. So thank you. And I know that Connor has left, but it's really hard to stand at that podium and have a timer and speak about anything, but especially when you want to speak about something so passionately. So just kudos to Connor. Hopefully he watches this recording and sees that. But thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Jones. All right, Mrs. Padova.
Thank you. Just wanted to also say congratulations to Kate Acklin. Reading that resolution was a bit of a trip down memory lane as someone who was active in 4-H in Pickaway County in my youth and showed pigs at the fair, went to 4-H camp, did many of the things that were listed in that resolution. So it was nice to see. It never even dawned on me that people in Gahanna would be participating in 4-H. So that was really nice little shout out there. And also just echo Councilwoman Jones' comments to Mr. Connor Waltzman-Frolini, just having being brave enough to come up here and speak. I feel like prior to being on council, I would watch or come to many of these meetings, and I just don't remember so many children coming and speaking, and I feel like we have had a lot since I have been on council, and I sincerely hope that says that this next generation is possibly more engaged than the last. So gives me hope for the future. So I'll end on that.
Thank you, Mrs. Padova. Mr. Renner.
Yeah, thank you. Kaylee, I want to pick up on that. We are, and that's a really good notice, that we have been having a lot more children come up to the podium and actually speak, and that's really good to have it more civic-minded, students, whether they go on and do anything, but they're at least engaged with their city and they want to voice their concerns. So my congratulations to the young man that was here. Also, I want to congratulate Kate Ackland. That's just, it's a wonderful little memory, and thank you, Mr. Weaver, for actually having a very detailed resolution on the 4-H and on the mentions. I too was a participant in the 4-H years ago, but and I showed Black Angus at the show, Black Angus bulls, and really have a lot of good memories of all of that, but that was years ago. Also, I want to congratulate our own Jessica Hiltz and Jeremy Van Meter. Thank you very, very much for everything that you guys do, and actually getting that certificate, getting that master, compliments everything that you guys do, and it raises the bar about our council office. So my hats off to you and Jessica. One more item. I was out and about, as several of us are in our neighborhoods talking to people. I was at the four-way intersection, the mad intersection of Stigler and 62. And Jeremy, can you put up that photo? I was facing southbound, so I was actually on my way home. If you see in the front of that car going, I was facing northbound, and the traffic coming on is going southbound across 62. But do you see something a little strange? There's a little elderly lady in an electronic scooter, and since I was caught at the traffic, I could not do anything, but I immediately sort of broke a few laws, sorry, Chief, and actually pulled my car in. By that time, she did cross 62. I will tell you that was nail-biting experience to watch and not do anything. But then when she made it across over on the other side of Stigler, I then helped her and stopped traffic on Stigler to help her get across to where the sidewalk is. Because if you notice, she's coming on the Witts side, whereas there's no sidewalk, and got to get her over to the other side. Thank you, Jeremy. This just speaks volumes to the mobility issue that I know the administration is actually, hacking out, and we know we have a report. This is the first time I've actually witnessed something like this at that mad intersection. I was able to actually talk to her a little bit. I did give her my card and tried to assess a little bit, but find out, helping her understand that there is a crosswalk on the McDonald side, And that, did she know, number one, know about it? And number two, did she try to get over there? And apparently, she did try, but she was frustrated for whatever reason. That she said that she could not get over there because there were too many cars turning at the lane there and cutting her off from the crosswalk to get across Stigler. And so then she decided to just take matters in her own hand and get in the lanes of the cars. I begged her to please never do that again, and to call me or call the police department and for help. But I just wanted to highlight this, that we do have a growing, as everybody knows, we do have a growing elderly population, and this is probably not the first, but we definitely need to crack down on and answer the call about mobility. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Renner. Mr. Schnetzer?
Thank you, Madam President. At risk of sounding somewhat redundant, I do want to extend thanks to everybody that had a hand in hosting and facilitating all of the many events in the city this past weekend. I took my boys down to the Capital City Corvette Club car show, and it seems like no matter how much I try and impress upon them my fondness for the 60s and 70s era muscle cars, they continue to gravitate towards the four-wheel drives. Fortunately for them, there were several examples, including a World War II era Willys Jeep, as well as a K5 Blazer that, if I had a place to put it, I would have liked to have maybe taken out a second mortgage to try and purchase that from the exhibitor. Very nice vehicle. With all of that aside, as I said during my comments when we were discussing Ordinance 0030-2025, I dearly hope that residents take some comfort in the fact that we do have 3 independently elected and co-equal branches of government here in the city of Gahanna. The reason why I mention that is not every city is structured like that. I personally view it to be a virtue. Some cities are structured where their city attorney is appointed. Some cities are structured with a city manager where ultimately city council kind of sits at the top. And I know maybe my reputation up here amongst my colleagues is of a financially minded individual given my day job, but what I will say is my favorite page in the city's, if there is such a thing, in the city's financial audit is page number Roman numeral 13, or XIII, and that is the city's org chart. If anyone's so inclined to go and look at it, what you'll see is that many of the administrative departments roll up through the mayor. Obviously, council is a standalone entity, and of course, the city attorney's office is a standalone division as well, all 3 of which report to the residents or the citizens of Gahanna. So ultimately, we are accountable to all of you. I think that is the definition of democracy, and frankly, I hope it never changes. That's all from me.
Thank you, Mr. Schnetzer. Mr. Weaver?
Always a challenge to follow up to Mr. Schnetzer, so I will just say thank you, sir, for your comments as well. Appreciate the mayor referencing the alumni musical last weekend. It does feel like yesterday, but also a year ago at the same time. I mentioned before that I had a small quote-unquote role to play. I was not on stage. Again, nobody wanted to see me tap dancing, but helping with some outreach efforts. And it really was a labor of decades and love. Generations spanning 60 years of classes of alumni from the high school were involved. People traveling from all over the country to participate, doing Zoom rehearsals, learning tap routines via video. I did see a friend who was in her New York tiny kitchen, New York apartment kitchen, knocking over pots and pans, trying to learn the routine for the show. It represented one last opportunity for alumni to perform on the current stage, and many memories were made in the process. And it was great to just sort of see the interconnectivity of the different generations who participated. So thank you to the community for supporting the project. I know many of the proceeds will be benefiting the Gahanna Jefferson Education Foundation as well as GRIN. So thank you for the community for turning out. I'm going to give Mrs. Maciosi and Mr. Shellhammer a little bit of a break, but I don't think they can sit still for very long.
I was just quoting her from when I talked to her Saturday night, so.
But what an artistic community we have. See that segue. Enjoyed the performance on Saturday of the Columbus Jazz Orchestra. My hat's off to the Gahanna Area Arts Council for organizing and hosting that beautiful event in a beautiful park on a beautiful evening. Could not have asked for better weather. Truly blessed, I think my colleagues have alluded to it, to have many organizations that do a lot of really great work, and Saturday was a fantastic example of all that that our city has to offer.
And all that jazz.
And all that jazz. Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
So I believe that is it for me, so thank you.
That's the only time you're going to hear me sing. Thank you, Mr. Weaver. Just very briefly for me, I wanted to share that my gratitude to Chief Spence and to Director Schultz for the tour last week of the municipal complex facilities. Mayor Jadwin, Mr. Weaver, and Mr. Van Meter were able to join for that as well. I'm incredibly excited at the asset that municipal complex is going to be for not just our city staff, not just for council, but for all of Gahanna. I think that there is going to be an improved way, and Mr. Schultz spoke to this, but certainly an improved way of doing business for businesses that do business with the city, for residents that need to do business with the city. That will all be improved at that location, as well as the community gathering spaces that are being built out with a multi-purpose room and the expanded senior center. The assets that we will have at the new municipal complex at 825 Tech Center Drive will be, I think, a gem for this community for generations to come. So I'm incredibly grateful to the staff, administration for your time to walk us through that, to keep us updated on how the construction is proceeding, but also keeping us updated on the finances of that project as well, which continue to look in good shape. I will also just share, I appreciate the residents that spoke this evening on the sidewalk assessments, and also thank you so much for recognizing the 50% cost share with the city of Gahanna. I understand, especially for the corner lots, and I think especially for that 2022 program, some of those numbers were higher than anticipated. But I am grateful that at least at this point, we have a 50% cost share, and then the remaining 50% can be spaced out over 5 years with a no-interest assessment through property tax assessment features. So again, that doesn't necessarily mean that you won't be receiving outreach directly from the administration. If you spoke to us this evening on the assessments, we look forward to continuing to work with you and answer the questions that you have. And I'll just echo Mrs. Jones and some of my other colleagues and say thank you for the full house that we had this evening, a lot of residents in attendance and those who spoke. With regard to Mr. Connor, he did some outreach. I had met him a few weeks ago, actually back in June, and so I'm looking forward to following up with him. I've already sent him an email outlining some of the LGBTQ protections that we have enacted. Gahanna was a very early adopter of non-discrimination language. Actually, voters approved a non-discrimination charter amendment in 2001 by a margin of 70% in approval. So I'm very proud of that track record and looking forward to continuing to expand the inclusivity and safe community that we are building here. With that, we have one final item on this evening's agenda. It's a motion to go into executive session. We have no further business that will come out of that executive session. With that, I'd like to entertain a motion to enter into executive session under Section 5.40A of the Council Rules of Procedure to consider the appointment of a public employee or official. Is there a motion?
Council President Bowers, before you go into that, I'd like to respectfully request a reconsideration of Ordinance 0030-2025.
Our rules do not entertain motions from the floor from residents, or excuse me, from you're not recognized to request a motion this
Sure.
evening.
There has to be some opportunity to request of this council to make a motion for reconsideration. That opportunity is either this evening on the night that the ordinance was heard, or perhaps at the next meeting. I reviewed your rules of conduct. Don't see any specific reference to when that motion needs to be made, so out of an abundance of caution,
Mr.
I'm requesting that a
Mr.
motion be
Hodge,
made this evening.
you are out of line. You are not acknowledged on the floor as a speaker, and this is out of line with our agenda. I would respectfully request that you take your seat, and you can speak with the administration or council members following adjournment of this evening's meeting. Thank you, sir.
And so you
Is
would,
there a
and so,
motion
and so
to-
you would be denying a
Excuse me,
request for
sir.
reconsideration, Council President Bowers?
You are not an appropriate person in which to make a motion for such reconsideration.
I am an appropriate person to request a motion for reconsideration.
Mr. Hodge, please be seated.
Understood.
I believe Mr. Weaver had made a first to the motion to go into executive session.
So moved, Madam
I have a first from Mr. Weaver. Is there a second? A second from Mrs. Jones. Any discussion on this motion to go into executive session? Hearing none, Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Weaver?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes?
McGregor? Padova?
Yes.
Renner?
Yes.
Schnetzer?
Yes.
Motion carries, and council members will adjourn into the law library. Thank you.